In this video, we're adding and subtracting fractions where the denominators aren't the same, but they are related in some way. They're multiples or factors of the same number. Before doing this video, it's a good idea to already understand how to add and subtract fractions where the denominators are the same. Here we have 1/3 add 1/6, and the denominators are related in that 3 will go into 6. Here we have 1/3 of a cheesecake, and we're going to add on 1/6 of a cheesecake. And we want to know which fraction we can express that as at the end. What we have to do when the denominators are different is to make them the same. When denominators are related, as 3 and 6 are, we only have to change one of them to be the same as the other. So to make the denominators the same, we can say, well, 3 will go into 6. So let's make both denominators 6. We know that the second one is 1/6. The first one, to change that denominator 3 to 6, we multiplied it by 2. So we have to do the same with the numerator. We'll multiply that by 2 to get 2. Now the denominators are the same, we can add them together. We now have 2/6 add 1/6, and that's 3/6. And if you look at the cheesecake, when we put those two parts together, you can see that the third and the sixth is actually the same as 3/6. There is a separate video looking at how to simplify. Don't panic if this isn't something you've done yet. I know that 3/6 is the same as half. But as long as you get 3/6, you've still got the right answer. Here's one for you to have a go at. We have 1/3 add 2/6. You've got to make the denominators the same before you add them together. Pause the video, have a go. You actually have a choice with this one. We're going to first do the method that we did last time. We're going to make them both 6ths. We know that the second one is 2/6. The first one is 1/3. To make that 3 denominator a 6, we had to multiply it by 2. So we're going to do the same with the numerator. 2 times 1, that's 2. So now we have 2/6, add another 2/6. And how many 6ths we have altogether? That's 4. If you go back to the cheesecake, and we put that third and 2/6 together, you can see that that is the same as 4/6. Again, if you're confident with simplifying, you can extend yourself here and simplify that 4/6 by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 2, and you'll have 2/3. And if you look at the cheesecake, we can turn those 4/6 into 2/3. As I said, there's another way of doing that one, so we're just going to go through that one again. So we have 1/3 of a cheesecake, and we're adding on 2/6 of a cheesecake. And you'll probably remember that that 2/6 is exactly the same as 1/3. This time, we're going to make the denominators the same, but instead of making them 6, we're going to make them 3. We can't always do this, but in this case we can. You have to make sure that you can divide the numerator and the denominator of the 6ths to make them thirds. So we have 1/3. To get from 6 to 3, we divide by 2. So we need to divide the numerator by 2, and that's 1. And we have 1/3 add 1/3, which is 2/3. And so you can see what that looks like. Look at the cheesecake, you can see that there's 2/3. We use the same method when we're subtracting fractions. We have 3/4 take away 2/8. And we do exactly the same as we do with addition. We make the denominators the same. You'll see that 4 will go into 8. So let's make both denominators 8. We know the second one is 2/8. We've got to turn the 3/4 into eighths. To get that 4 to 8, we had to multiply by 2. So we're going to do the same with the 3 numerator. And that 3/4 is now 6/8. 6/8 take away 2/8. How many eighths do we have left? If you have a look at the bar, I've turned that 3/4 into 6/8, and we're going to take 2 of those eighths away to give us 4/8. You may also be able to see that that is the same as a half. Here's one for you to try. 2/5 take away 2/10. Pause the video, have a go. So we have 2/5 of a pizza, and I've cut one of those fifths into 2/10 so that you can see the amount we're going to take away. If we look at the numbers, 2/5 take away 2/10, we need to make the denominators the same. 5 goes into 10, so I'm going to make both denominators 10. We know that the second one is 2/10. The first one is in fifths, so we're going to convert that to tenths. We multiplied that 5 by 2 to get 10, so we're going to multiply the numerator 2 by 2 to get 4. Now we have 4/10 take away 2/10. So I've converted that pizza into 4/10. We're going to take 2 of those tenths away. 4/10 take away 2/10 leaves you with 2/10. And we've taken those 2/10 away from the pizza. Again, you can probably see that that's the same as 1/5. And if you're confident with simplifying, we can divide numerator and denominator by 2 to make 1/5. This time we have 4/5 take away 6/10. So there's 4/5 of the pizza. I've put 6/10 in there so that you can see the amount that's going to be taken away. We're going to make the denominators the same. This time I'd like you to have a go at this on your own, but use division to make both denominators into fifths. Pause the video, have a go. So if both denominators are fifths, we know that the first one is 4/5. We need to change that 6/10 into fifths. To get from 10 to 5, we divide by 2. So we're going to do the same with the numerator. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we have 4/5 take away 3/5. If you look at the pizza, I've turned it back into fifths because that's what we're working with now. 4/5 take away 3/5 leaves you with 1/5. And if you look at the pizza, we have 4/5, we take away 3/5, and there's 1/5 left. And those of you who like simplifying, you'll notice that 1/5 can't be simplified any further.